What's up, and welcome to the American Gods Show. We are talking episode 7, Fire and Ice. My name is Kari Lane. I'm joined by my awesome co-host.
Can I do it right this time? Is it right or wrong? I have no idea what I'm doing. It's Flobo.
Yeah,
How's it
it's close enough.
going?
Yeah, what's up?
Can't complain. This is what, episode 7 of this short season. We're rocking and rolling.
I know, and this episode had a lot of different elements to it, which we'll get into. But what were your initial thoughts of episode 7?
Ooh, well, I can't say I did not like it. It was fine. It totally served its purpose. But I will say I wondered how a 10 episode series is going to work with the first 2 seasons being 8 episodes. And this kind of was. I won't call it quite filler. But I do think the development we got in a lot of storylines could have been married to other episodes. So it wasn't a complete waste of time, but didn't really set my world on fire as well.
I was going to say, well, the fire, there were quite a few things set on fire.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of, what do you think of that opening? Wednesday and Cordelia are driving along, and a flaming body falls from the sky.
Yeah, that just proves that Wednesday just chose not to speak the entire time, right? He's just sitting there going like...
He's like grumpy and brooding, yeah.
I thought that would have been solved in the opening sequence. I'm glad it wasn't, because now we know why that was. But there was definitely a way for... Because we were also debating how much does Cordelia know, and now we know how much she knows.
Yes, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the best way of doing it. Like, what the hell is that? Explain it to me. There were no buildings to throw this body off of. What gives?
Could have been an airplane. No, I don't know. Helicopter? Yeah. Also, it was interesting to see Wednesday essentially scared. He was very concerned and looking around and everything like, we need to go now. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And something is clearly watching them from the woods. And we see a flashback of that a little bit to see the massacre. So that was really interesting. So then we have Shadow, which then connects to Cordelia. So what do you think of, he did try to go to Derek first, sort of, because, you know, he goes to his work. He's not there, goes to the cops, but doesn't talk to them first. But then, of course, we have our nosy neighbor.
Yeah, of course, which I don't know what's the deal with Anne-Marie, but we talked about this last week. You and I were both afraid that would have been the caught red-handed, or maybe Shadow would be confused with Derek or some kind of thing, but I think that's totally the Shadow's nature. He's been off the grid or off the grid adjacent for so long that to solve the issue himself was totally on brand and on character for him, and I'm glad at least part of that got resolved as to why Derek was doing that. Because when we first heard the crimes of the unmentionables being stolen, we just thought it was kind of like a colorful note about this town. And it got to be something serious. I'm glad it kind of went back in its own direction, because that's not someone you want to see get his comeuppance. It's someone who loves to wear underwear, right?
Right. Yeah, that was not like a shocking thing. It was really more like, wait, really? Okay.
Because Amazon in the Midwest? I don't understand why.
OMG, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, y'all don't have any sort of delivery, anything. I understand not wanting to go in the store. Fine. Get it. I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't just shoplift. But, okay, there's that. Because, I mean, he's stealing from people. But, yes, delivery of any catalog. Not even just Amazon. You could order directly from whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, my salary, I'll just steal it then. It's like, okay.
Well, that too. Maybe that's it. He's like, I don't want to pay for it.
Wow.
And Chad, I like that, you know, the Chad's also like, because besides breaking into people's homes aside, because that's a pretty big deal. Like, you're breaking into people's homes. Taking just underwear of all the kind of crimes you could do, like, you're not murdering someone, you're not beating someone up, you know, it's kind of on the smaller end of, you know, legalities, I guess. Of like,
to break into someone's house.
Yeah. You're not stealing a child, you're not kidnapping, you know, it's just, okay, fine, you took people's underwear. But I like that they kind of go, we don't really care. You're just committing a crime, dude. He's like, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so. But
yeah.
Like, what about the victims? Do they get like vouchers for other things back? Is a community service involved? Probably discussed next week. But yeah, it was an odd thing, not because of what his desire to do in wearing the underwear, because I am not here to shame anyone's vibes or vibes.
Yeah, if you want to, go for it.
But
just don't steal from people to do it.
Right, but like it's not even like it was like a karma convenience of him like walking in someone's house. He has to climb a 2nd-story home to do this. He was like, nothing. Pokemon cards aren't worth that. Let alone clothes. Like, come on.
Also, it could be dangerous in terms of him breaking into someone's house. What if they just thought he was, another kind of burglar and just shoot him?
Yeah.
He could have been some kind of danger to himself and the people he's burglarizing. So no, Derek, don't do that.
Don't do it.
And that also leads us to Shadow and his ice skating date, which also before that, I agree, Anne-Marie's getting really continues to be suspicious. What do you think?
Man, this show, American Gods, is nothing but shifting alliances, right? There's just so many weeks where you're kind of like, so like Anne-Marie has been from that, hey, she's just someone who's there and she's a nosy person, and to being like, is she hiding something? There's no way this town will be hiding something. But then again, it kind of is. So I am not completely sold either way of what Anne-Marie's alliances are. But yeah, my guard is up when she shows up.
Yeah, I am very suspicious of her. Also, at the very end of the episode, when we kind of have that one shot of her drinking her hot cocoa or whatever by the fireplace, is like, Also, her getting everybody's business back up, leave people alone. But that also does lead us to our super cute ice skating date, which I thought was adorable. What do you think, Flobo?
I'm terrified of ice, so I would not think that's adorable. But props for trying something I wouldn't have.
But what if someone's like, hey, I'm going to show you how to skate. It means they have to hold your hands. They even are holding you up a little bit. So we get physical contact, and good kind of first date, checking each other out vibes.
Sure, to the victor go the spoils. I did snowboarding that way, and I still talk about how much that hurt. So I was like, oh man, why would you put yourself on 2 blades of knives on ice? This is a bad idea. But Shadow did it a lot better than I thought I would. Than I would have, and it was kind of cute. It was adorable until the obvious thing happened after.
But then, yeah, he has a vision. What did you think of? I was like, wait, why is Ganesh showing up and leaving a coin?
Dude, I was like, what is Ganesh in the horde? Is Sweeney coming back? Had no idea what that meant. Maybe Shadow is like the 0.0 of a celestial compass of different beings. But it was interesting that if not Ganesh, elephant-shaped god or spirit showed up with a coin.
Yeah, I'm going to assume Ganesh, but yeah, I don't. I mean, it could be something else that we don't know, because also it's Shadow looking through the ice, and it's really kind of hard to see. But they leave behind a coin, which I was like, wait, another coin into the mix. What does this coin do? Because that will be our 3rd coin now.
Right. But it disappeared after he came to? So is it like in his mind?
I think it was there essentially in his vision world. I would have wanted him to go over and check. I would have gone to check. Because they're also kind of far away. That it's like, okay, maybe you can't see it. I would want to go over there and be like, is it here? So I don't know. It was maybe that will tie into when the car goes through the ice.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the car. Even though I asked about it a couple weeks ago, I had forgotten about it.
So also, then we jump ahead. That was quite the date, because they end up in the hot tub. And then it's like, oh, this would be so much even better if it's snowing. Shadow's like, oh, really? I got you.
I cannot get with this guy, Shadow. For years, you're like, I wonder what powers he has. He's not using his powers. What's going on? And now it's a parlor trick? I mean, I can't blame him. I would do the same thing. But come on.
I was all smooth. Yeah, he's like, yeah. Let me slide into your DMs kind of idea of like, I got an idea.
Yeah, and what happened was one of the hottest sex scenes since either Shadow and Bast or Selima and the Djinn. I mean, American Gods makes it very tasteful, I tell you. But whoa!
I was actually wondering too on the nudity, because for her, it depends on the actor of what they want to show and everything. And totally fine if you want to show more, show less. And so I thought it was very strategic nudity they did, because there were a couple of moments I'm all maybe, but it looks like snowflakes blurring it out. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty much on point.
But then in the realistic mindset, them laying in the snow, I was like, no, looks too cold. No, thank you. Like, I just think of how it feels to touch real snow. So I thought laying in snow naked. Nope.
I was under the impression that like it was actual snow, but they were just so wrapped up that they didn't even notice a change in temperature. Because otherwise it would be kind of weird on their sides, like, wow, that was great, right?
I'm going to go with it was symbolic, metaphor, space, something, because when he wakes up, he's in bed. So I'm assuming they had fun in the hot tub and then they went inside and didn't actually lay down in the snow. Because I wondered that too. But when it's her first there and then he's there, or I mean, they're together and then he's alone in the blizzard, it kind of made me think that they didn't actually lay down naked in the snow. It was more just like the mental space.
I just figure how good it had to have been if you had to go lay in the snow afterwards.
Apparently, you were both scorching hot. You go like, we gotta lay down and cool off.
Yeah, cool off.
Yeah. But we do see this mysterious blizzard, someone on a horseback, and all the weird, creepy people in the snow. What'd you think of those people?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. It was one of those things where you're kind of like, all right, this is noteworthy. It's going to pay off, but I'm not sure what. It was kind of unnerving to see, to tell you that. But I don't really have anything in my notes for that one. It was just kind of like, huh.
It was very weird and kind of spooky in the sense of, are these bodies? Are these people who had died there? Are they? What are they coming to join him or to get him? Those are very different things.
I can't tell. They're like either way. Yeah. And again, because it's so gray area of the season, like it's like I don't know what this is, and I kind of wish there was some clarity with what Shadow can see now more than ever.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Then we have back to, as we mentioned, Cordelia did not know when she shows up, and I'm glad we got confirmation on that because it was kind of what we were thinking in terms of, oh, he's just messing around. It's not really real. And then she's like, holy shit. Like, what?
Yeah.
Brain explodes. Yeah.
I said it before, but I love the interactions Cordelia and Shadow have. I'm not sure if it's because their characters are so on that path together or the actors, but like when she was totally unhinged on the street, I totally bought it. When she somehow got manipulated, or she manipulated the manipulator and decided to go back with Wednesday, and Shadow was like, ugh, I totally understood. Like everything they say, all nonverbal cues are linked with them. But yeah, I'm glad that part was out there because again, I grew up in the WB era where every main character had a secret, and you never know who knew the secret, who didn't. So I'm glad we know now that Cordelia's in.
Yes, and also Shadow doing more of his smoothness of, you have me. I had to go through this alone. I understand where you've been, but you have me. I was just like, oh, look at that. Sliding in again. Another one super smooth. I don't think he's trying to like get with her, but I want, it feels a little bit more like a little sister relationship almost. They're not quite flirty with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fine.
It's all, not to say it's all business because it's really the emotional element, but it's kind of like we have this common thing. Like I'm bound to him by blood. This guy's paying your bills. Let's just understand what's going on. Yes. But you don't have to do all this. You can get a job at the rent-a-car place. But oh, you want to do this now? Oh, Cordelia.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because then when Wednesday shows up and she's just like, okay, business as usual, and just continues on with it. But we learn later, as she says with him when they go to check out the dentist office, she said, she hasn't really been a part of something before. So I kind of get that, oh my gosh, I'm involved in something. And I bet that little bit of danger is just exciting enough because she herself hasn't been in such immediate danger. She's been around it. So maybe it's not so overwhelming in that nature.
I understand the want to be part of something, but that's like when you're joining like a club on Reddit or something. I can't imagine seeing gods and charred bodies and flying thunderbirds going like, I want in. Like, well, why?
Yeah, but what about like what she said of, wait, you want me to just go back to living my life knowing this is going on and not be connected to it? Because you have a lifeline to what's going on, and to sever that and be gone from it, but know that it's still going on.
Well, this is why I'm not on the show, because I'm totally fine with that. Voting for your president is one thing. Fighting gods were another.
Yeah. Then
the
also the what?
Flobita the wuss.
No. Cautious.
Yeah.
There you go. Then also we had that thing with Dunker and all the trying to go find Johan and all the dead animals. Essentially, I want to go with those were the sacrifices Johan kept trying to make to get his god's attention, and it just wasn't working the way it was he wanted. So I am curious so if anybody doesn't know, there were possibly other scenes that were adjusted based on current events with Marilyn Manson. So I'm kind of curious what would we have seen differently? Like, was this shot this way? Did they have to do reshoots? Did they just kind of strategically edit? The issue aside of why it happened, I'm like, that's a whole maybe other discussion. But I'm just curious, it's us, the viewer, the fans. Yeah. What would we have seen? Would the story have been that different? I'm assuming they're going to make it as streamlined to what the original vision was, but pivoted. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder that too. I'm not sure how you also would get yourself out of that, because it did seem kind of weird that you had set up Dunker, well, I'm sure he's going to pay off somewhere else because that scene was not cut completely, of having this like riddle to go up to eye a dark room and then have one to come right back down and go, where is he? You know what I mean? I feel like that was kind of odd, and I may have something to do with it. It's hard to say. I do think that Johan would have only lasted this season regardless, but I do have a feeling that it would have been a longer arc had things not been redone.
Yeah, because also we have our shot, which we'll get to the tier possible reveal and what that means, but their kind of interaction did feel like maybe there was more on the one side, and they just kind of shifted what that dialogue was, and it wouldn't be so hard if it is one person in one location to like maybe reshoot it, but let us know your thoughts on that. Comment down below. We also have, before we get to them too, because like I feel that is where we end. Laura and Salim with Mr. World. That negotiation. What did you think of all that, Flobo?
Welcome to the party, Salim. Wow. Okay. You know, not saying that everyone needs a purpose, but I also don't wonder about Salim. Whether he's going to be just all in his feelings, but here's someone's a tough negotiator that was able to, one, to negotiate for have Laura help him or her help Laura, and two, be able to actually do a contract with the embodiment of evil. And I was so impressed, and the terms we'll get into in just quite a second are pretty high stakes, but I'm so glad that Salim has a lot of character merit on his own.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because it was kind of like, well, what is his purpose now? How is he going to tie into everything? I also really liked how when he's giving her guidance and he's saying, don't be impulsive. And understandably, she does the, whoa, hold up, women do this here and blah, blah, which I was all, you know, girl, that's a little racist / you're assuming what happens in this country that you're speaking of. Do you really know? And I like that he rebuttals like, whoa, hold up. No, those all happen too. I was just talking about it, not in that way. And to his credit, I don't think she should have jumped to that conclusion so fast. Like, I mean, I guess she doesn't know him the way we do. I wouldn't think he'd be as like sexist of like, you're a woman, you're just being impulsive, tone it down. It's like, no, he's just like, whoa, hold up. Right. I understand crazy deals. Let's not do this hastily.
Yeah, and it takes a certain individual to look through Laura Brand, right? And I think it would be naive of me to sit there and say, well, she just went to hell and back and she'll be different. I think there's some parts that have changed, but the core essence of her character is that way. Shoot first, ask questions later. And so it takes someone with a little bit of tough love to be like, look, you do this all the time. You said it yourself, you mess things up. You let me have someone else in your corner when you're actually going against Mr. World, Danny Trejo World.
But, and also though, to her credit, I like when they're doing the deal and then it's like, okay, her safety, but she goes, wait, I want Salim safe as well. I was like, okay, yeah. I'm glad you're including him too, because she could have just done like, whatever, I don't care, keep Shadow safe, maybe, and me, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it, but what did she have to pay for it? Escalate the terms of the deal. Like the deal now is like high stakes, right?
Yeah, if you fail, we'll just kill you and your friends. Cool.
Deal.
I think I'd want more the specific of if you try and fail, it's okay. it'd only be the negative if you don't even try. Like if you just left that and never did anything, that would be the failure. But I don't know if I trust her abilities enough to succeed. So I'm like, well, did you just damn everybody because you're not going to be good enough?
Cool with me.
Yeah.
That's bonus television. But you're right. I don't feel for a second Laura would say, well, let's make sure we have some contingencies in there. I think she sees Wednesday as an easy target. She just needs to get to it. And I think when she got in the room, it was kind of like a good deal on her end. But we all know you don't make deals with antagonists because they always double cross you.
Also, I think kind of like Cordelia, I think even though she knows some of this world and everything to be true, I don't think she fully comprehends what that means. And I think she's underestimating Wednesday and his abilities / his possible allies. So I don't know if Laura really grasps the whole picture.
And that's great. Sometimes not knowing the risks kind of makes it easier to make the decision. So.
True. What did you think of I'm going to go metaphor visuals behind them of the seals and the penguins and the ocean and the icebergs?
So I was trying to make sense of that because the one that was the ant, right? Because the ant was small.
That was the first one, yeah, and then Salim smashed it.
And I was like, okay, so it's not like a video wall. It's actual things. There are elements of the planet and all that, maybe kind of like dealing with the devil in that sort of way, but I couldn't connect them. Did you have a theory?
I felt it was more the metaphor of like how, the penguins were safe above water and the seal was like, there was one shot where the penguins are like up here on the ice and the seal's just right here. But the final image is that the seal got the penguin and is killing it. So then I was like, oh, is this metaphorically like Laura and Salim and them are essentially the penguins in this metaphor? And Mr. World is like, all right, we finally got you.
Wow.
I think it's hard to say because also in the food chain, seal could be killed by something else. Right. So it is the maybe unassuming that this is a dangerous creature and it's going to get you if you don't look out.
So very similar to the ant thing, because it looked like the ant was like presented as a predator, and it looked like it was a fire ant or like a flesh-eating ant, and then
it seems like well, bam,
and it was destroyed. Okay. So I guess kind of similar in that way, but I didn't know if there was any link to those, or there were like individual siloed examples of the same thing. Or
I thought we saw it a lot for it to not mean something. So, and I don't feel they throw anything in there needlessly, but I think it is maybe the anteing up. It's like maybe world thinks of them as ants, and then it's like, oh, no, I'm going to go up next ladder up the evolution chain.
I like it.
We shall see.
We shall see.
It was kind of cool, though. And yes, you can get the item that she wants, so we'll see where that leads us. I'm really curious with the preview for next time. I'm like, oh, where are we now? And like, who are these new people we're going to meet? So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely.
Then
I can imagine the showdown scene in episode 9 or 10, and it's like, "Are you going to kill me?" Yes, spear or whatever they find.
I don't think it's going to go as she plans, but I don't think it'll end. Never. No. When gods are involved, I don't think anybody's plans go the way they want them to, for sure.
Absolutely.
Our big arc, which I really enjoyed, was Bilquis, and we had Ibis doing kind of her story. Talking about kind of her introduction, the avatar Sheba, but it is she was whole, but then her followers told her one thing, which is kind of cool to reaffirm what we were talking about last time. And then I liked her guiding session, essentially, of, where are you going and why, which is like, oh, okay. I like her phone, honing in on what she should be doing, because she is kind of like, well, what to do next?
Yeah. It's interesting about Bilquis, going into season 1, we all knew what Bilquis was. Oh, the Queen of Sheba. Duh. Like, it was kind of common knowledge, and it was cool to see through that lens. But now with season 3, and Ibis writing in that dope penmanship, I was jelly. It was like, well, it's not who we think it was. That moniker was put on, but does that make Bilquis any different or weaker? The fact she kind of confers with that other god, Ocean, is that every weaker. And I know there was some think pieces about colorism because Bilquis is darker skinned and Ocean is lighter skinned. Is that some sort of power play there too? I don't see it quite that way. I do see it as like, okay, we all have talents and we all have abilities, but we could be in an environment where we're told what we're good at. Like, for example, when I was a kid and I argued all the time, my mom and her friends were like, oh, you could be a lawyer or a judge. But I wasn't. Does that mean they're right or wrong? But I now know what it's more comfortable for me to achieve. So I think it's kind of cool to see her growth in that way and have us, even though she was already a mature god when this thing started, and us being along for the ride.
Yeah, it's the idea of outside forces or people guiding what they think you should be and coming to terms with, no, I want to see myself as I see myself, not how others see me. So I like her kind of recentering who she is. And speaking of that too, the vision one, she does see Laura in shadow. So I'm like, ooh, how's she going to tie back in? Yeah. But gets that address of the 1619, that kind of community center party, which looked really fun, very welcoming and comforting kind of place.
Definitely the growing up, that was like the Saturday afternoon after Soul Train. People have a cookout outside. People are dancing inside, bounce rock, roller skate. Very cool, very throwbacky, very, very urban. Again, I'm from New York, so I can say that in that context. Very urban, very like close quarters, but everyone was enjoying each other's company. There wasn't much division. There wasn't no like class issue of, oh, those people from that neighborhood or that neighborhood. Everyone was dressed differently, different socioeconomic status. Most of them were minorities, but they were still together having a good time.
Yeah, and we meet this woman, Eugenia, and I like the Bilquis attempt to talk to her, and the woman's like, no, I don't know you, give me back my food. And Bilquis almost kind of, oh, okay. Which was interesting to see her, turn in on herself in not a good way of like, oh, this didn't work. It's like, no, I get it. Of you're just like, this is who I am. I came to you. You called me. And the woman's all, no.
Yeah. It's like, give me back my plate, which I've said many times as a child. but then again, it really was Bilquis entering this space as if she was a goddess and the goddess of what she thought she was. You know what I'm saying? What it is now, it was kind of like she had to learn that, look, I do have this lineage, but I do have this presence here in this space. Let me reaffirm who I am to this individual, which we'll get to a second later. But that was a cool switch. That wasn't that easy being like, oh, Bilquis, so glad you're here.
Yeah, she had to essentially connect herself first before she could connect with other people, which is what the Ocean, I loved having those women back and them saying, no, you need to be part of it first to be able to talk to someone else, which makes sense. You can't talk to somebody from the outside and you need to be part of it to really connect. And I just thought it was beautiful. Like, oh, the cinematography and the colors, the lighting, the effect was like, mwah, chef's kiss of beautiful. Visual feast for the eyes.
Yeah. And shout out to the guy with the bucket drum just hanging out. Like, oh, they need me.
He's like, I'm ready. Well, we don't know how much he's really there because once that shifted, it was back to regular music, but
sure.
Still,
he was at the ready.
Yeah. I love the music of it and everything. And then Bilquis was like, I need to show you who I am. And I felt she had to show herself too and reconnect with kind of that. I was saying sisterhood and community too. Also great start to Women's History Month too, of, connecting with fellow women, but then also to the community as a whole.
Well, I feel bad asking this question now.
Go for it.
You'll see why. I was like, because he isn't in this season, would this whole arc being different if Nancy still been in the conversation? But you just said that women's history and empowerment. I'm like, but what about this guy?
No, it's true. It is very... I wish there was something that addressed where he is or what happened to him, because it really is this character is gone and we're not going to talk about it at all. And so it is weird and unfinished like, wasn't there someone else at this party? Did they leave? It's just that.
No, I totally get it. I mean, looking at the African gods, and we're assuming a lot of the transference came via the slave trade. So they will be older in that way or original in that way, having one of the original gods who actually had a slave ship segment last season to not even be mentioned. Like, write him off, say he's in space or something. But
he's taking care. He's at the protests. He's helping out. Like
something. That makes sense. Yeah, because he had the snatch monologue, which I think is still a high point in the show. But yeah, to have that whole era just like not even on the table.
It is very odd and absent, and I wish the show they easily could have a throwaway line of like, so where'd they go? Oh, they're doing this. Okay, moving on. Something to acknowledge it. I also, though, I loved the kind of moment where the mural on the wall kind of comes to life, getting ready to take her, and Eugenia's all, nope, I'm not ready to go yet.
Yeah. And he goes, okay. I was like,
oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah. He's like,
okay. Yeah, he just gives up. That's awesome.
And also, I like the addressing of older religions to newer religions, because that woman who's older and maybe is closer, she's more closely tied with older beliefs and goes, hey, I appreciate everything the church is doing. I know I'm dying, but I'm not buying what you're selling. And I kind of thought that was cool to have someone hold on to their deeper beliefs, their cultural roots, rather than what someone's trying to, as she said, sell them. And I like that she got Bilquis to be there, because as we've seen in other episodes too, it's the nice that what you truly believe is what you get at the end, which is nice, because it's like, it would suck if you don't like whatever and then that shows up and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, it does seem that Bilquis has to atone for her original sin of accepting the dating app at her lowest point. But it makes sense to see someone hold on to their belief. The OGs say, like, I'm willing to take my death to the end if need be.
Yeah, so I'm curious if they'll explore more with that. And I wonder what this woman essentially called her for. She connected with her. Oh, right. Sorry. That's why. I was like, wait a minute. What was the big deal? It was, yes, she is the midwife who was there when Shadow was born and kept him from Wednesday because she felt Wednesday would destroy that child. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm curious how this all ties in. And also you have to go find the other, which we don't know what that is, but
No, I didn't. And it's interesting because, we all know Shadow's important. I mean, that goes without saying, but it's starting to see how important this is. Going into the season, we thought, at least I thought, I don't want to speak for you, I thought that Bilquis is going to be like the weaponized secret X factor on both sides. There was Shadow. Shadow was Wednesday's son. That was confirmed, but I thought he'd be at the arms of Wednesday. But now with the plot brewing to off Wednesday and trying to find Shadow Moon and the other, it's like, is Bilquis going to be the guide to Shadow we all thought Wednesday would be, and have him be in the middle of this cross battle more than us?
Well, we did talk about, and I am curious to explore how Shadow is connected to his African roots and like his lineage that way, because we already know Wednesday and the Norse mythology for him, but I'm wondering if Bilquis will connect him to that, because then it makes me want to know more about his mom, that the midwife woman was saying how, like, oh no, like, say more about his mom. So I was like, ooh, is there more there? We don't know yet.
Yeah. How close is the African side? And what does that mean for mythology if they can totally commiserate, like...
Yeah, how would they connect? And similar to that, gods talking with each other, I'm wondering, which is my theory going into the end, we get Tyr goes to get Shadow. Whew, I'm nervous for him. We find out, we see Johann's body. So do we think Tyr is the one who is the bigger problem and is killing everything? It wasn't Johann?
So is here the bigger problem, in my opinion? Yeah. It is, again, I don't know if this is because of the reshoots or what happened, but that was one of my biggest stinks about this season. Is just the characterization of Tyr's been all over the place. It's been like...
It is a little bit popcorny of...
Kind of random, right? But it makes sense with one, the Berserker being totally destroyed, like off and gutted. And second, the I guess the gentleman kidnapping of "Come with me" and the smile at the end. Yeah. And of course, I mean, like, I'm not sure.
Twisting the mustache.
Totally was the mustache, and Shadow's like taking a nap.
He's like, okay, whatever.
The song
he was a little too trusting on that of some random guy. I'm friends with your dad. I think with Shadow would be like, Really?
What's the safe word?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of your dad's. The song at the end of the episode, a little on the nose, but then what doesn't American Gods do that has like layers of subtlety? Either you don't get it or it's over your head with it. Leonard Cohen, shout out to that. But I do think that Tyr is going to be the big threat. And I see that now, Tuesday versus Wednesday, this giant battle, a war god versus a god that's dying, the Brutus to the Caesar, like it's all there. The seeds are there. Let's see if they execute.
Yeah, it makes sense also because when we saw Tyr's love of Demeter, I wonder if Demeter leaving, he's going to blame Wednesday, which is like, she made the decision on her own, but I could see you made her leave, I'm mad at you. Or just they've always been butting heads in a problem. And I kind of wondered if Tyr was happy with how things are and Wednesday stirring up trouble and trying to make more of a problem. Tyr's like, no, things were okay as they were. You're causing the problem. I'm going to end you. So it's like, maybe it might go that direction.
Yeah, either way, don't ask a friend to loan you some money or else they'll take your kids. I have no idea.
So we'll see. I think it's a bit ambiguous, even though we've seen a lot and a lot is... it's too easy to make assumptions about a lot of different points right now. Because that's the problem of like, okay, cool, we can infer this, but it really feels... ambiguous of like, well, but is it?
Yeah. Is Shadow under like duress? Is he going to be kidnapped? Is he going to see a third god? Is it going to be another Mr. World interpretation? Is Tyr working for the old gods? A lot of questions on the air, and I don't think that was the original plan.
Yeah, and I don't think Mr. World is thrilled with the idea of keeping Shadow alive too. When Laura asked for his protection, Mr. World's like, sure, and that smile left when they left. So we will see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else we didn't get to or didn't mention that you wanted to point out?
That was it. I mean, I feel like again, my biggest thing, like, it's like, oh, they did the one Leonard Cohen song about. It's like at the end of the show. For those of you who don't know, the song itself mentions the word Hayeni, which is what Abraham said to God, "I am here for you, Lord," when he was sacrificing his son Isaac. So I was like, a sacrificial son, he's saying Hayeni. It's repeated, that phrase repeated many times. It's like, I get it. Shadow's going for a ride, baby. You know? But it's American Gods. That's what they do. They make you look up stuff and confirm stuff from Sunday school. That's what they do.
Get you to dust off your Sunday school knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's see what you remember. Yeah. No, I think I'm just curious to see where it goes. I feel we've had a lot of the puzzle pieces laid out, but not enough to connect them. Like this, but not to bring it together. So
yeah, it was a fun hour. Not essential viewing, I don't quite think. As far as like, I could have put those storylines in episode 6 and 8 or 5 and been fine. But for what it was kind of a fun time. I wasn't bored.
Exactly. And I feel it's helping give us more context that we will be appreciating later. So, which the show does. All right. Sweet. So where can people find you online, Flobo?
Oh, yeah. Let's get it right this time. Oh, yeah. There it is. You can find me on social media at Flobo Boyce on Twitter and on TikTok, because I'm back there now, thanks to Miss Lane. And on Instagram at FloPito.
Nice. And there, too far. Yay. You can find me online at Kari Lane on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the things. You're here on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. There's a lot of anime content on here on the YouTube, and Twitter, it's just kind of all over the place. And TikTok, similar to Flobo's page. It's a little bit of everything. So yay, makes it fun and exciting. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to do that subscribe button and notification bell so you can see when we'll be back for next week to cover episode 8. Exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.